Today we have Krishnakumar Natarajan, the co-founder of MindTree and the founder of Mela Ventures. He is a 1979 graduate of mechanical engineering. It's a pleasure to have you today, sir. How are you doing?
Doing very well, Sweta.
Okay.
Gindi has always been a very important part of my growing up and evolving as an individual. So very happy to participate in this talk.
Okay. So could you tell us about your journey after CEG until now? What have you been exploring and about your ventures?
Certainly. I would probably sort of switch back and use my last fourth and final years also at Gindi, because that was one of, I would think, a character shaping experience for me. Because though I was an honor student, I was the first student president in my fifth year, and evolving and trying to be a part of a students' union where you could steer some directions clearly taught me the first principles in leadership. After then graduating in mechanical engineering from CEG, I went for my business school in XLRA Jamshedpur, did my MBA from there, passed out in 81. And at that time, the choice was for most MBA students to really go into more attractive options like consumer product companies or organizations like Citi where you work for. But then I said, being an engineer, let me do something which is more close to what I understand. So I got into the, at that time, the emerging IT industry. And I also took a very unusual decision of joining almost a startup, which was Wipro, because Wipro had been primarily a consumer product company. First time they're venturing into computers. So I was one of the early employees in Wipro, joining the computer business. I think being early on in the journey really helps you grow both in terms of your capabilities, because you're then expected to do not just your job, but a lot of other jobs, because that's really the value of being in a startup where you're not confined to a role alone. You learn many other things. In that way, even though Wipro is an established company, the IT business was just starting. And that really helped me understand every aspect of the business. And Wipro also by nature was a company which encouraged individuals to move across functions. So I worked in Wipro for about close to 19 years, did various roles there. And my last role was as the chief executive of the electronic commerce division and the financial services division. So 1999, along with a few friends, I co-founded MindTree, which was really positioned as a next generation IT technology company. Because at that time, what we realized was that large enterprises were not really familiar with how to leverage internet to reach out to their consumers and also make their businesses more efficient. So at MindTree, we positioned ourselves as a company helping large enterprises leverage the internet far more effectively. And that differentiated position helped us grow rapidly. We got a unique position. And more than anything else, we built a very strong culture in MindTree. Even today, even though the company has merged with LTI Infotech, a lot of people talk about the unique culture of MindTree. That has really stayed on. So the aspect of what we call a high-performing, high-caring culture, which we built in MindTree, helped us be successful, and we took the company public in the Indian stock markets, both in NSE and BSE in 2007. And it was one of the most well-subscribed IPOs at that time, oversubscribed by almost 150 times. And that gave us a lot of visibility. And that happened in 2007. And keeping in line with our ability to be ahead of technology, after getting listed, we were also the first company to invest in digital transformation technologies, which was also becoming very important for large enterprises. So that gave us an additional I would say, growth engine, and markets continue to really appreciate that we were thinking ahead, investing in the future, as well as building a great company which is sustainable. So overall, in the stock markets in the period 2007 to 2017, there were many companies which across industries got listed, but Mindtree was the third in delivering the best returns to stakeholders. This is an independent study which Financial Express did over a 10-year period, because short-term performances can always happen, but you need to sustain that performance over a period of time, which is why they took a 10-year horizon from 2007 to 17, in which we were the third best. CNBC TV 18 judged us as being the most promising company of 2013. And I also got several recognitions, including the EY Entrepreneur of the Year Award, the Business Today Entrepreneur of the Year Award in 2011, and so on. And one of the well-known magazines picked me up as one of the 12 global leaders of tomorrow in 2015. And a lot of this recognition came because I think we had built a very strong culture, a strong leadership team which believed in doing the best for the customer. So the company reached a revenue of more than $1 billion and market cap of about $4 billion, which is when L&T did a bid by buying over one of our key investors, and then they acquired a majority. At which stage I said I might as well do something which is more, in a way, giving back to this entrepreneurial ecosystem, which had really helped me grow. So I started this fund called Mela Ventures, which invests in early stage technology companies. And the objective was, over a period of 8 to 10 years, we would like to build 8 to 10 mini MindTrees so that entrepreneurship becomes more central. And we would fund people to enable them to build great companies. So that's what I've been doing for the last 5 years. Certainly enjoying this role of helping young people build great companies. That's really what I'm doing today. So that in a way describes my journey from 79 in CEG to 2024, which is today.
That's a beautiful journey indeed, but I'm sure it's got a lot of challenges associated with every stage of your venture. I have a very important question. So, when you started Mindtree, it should have been like 1980s or something. But
no, 1999 August we started Mindtree.
Okay, so that was after the.
Because I worked in Wipro for about 18 years. Yes.
Okay. So I was thinking like it was that time the economy was primarily a manufacture base, and we did not have the push to the service sector, and only after this LPG 1991 there was more demand for this service sector.
Yes.
So you have harnessed the opportunities at the
Correct.
right time.
Yeah. Yes, I was certainly that way at the right time at the right place. More than anything else, to be honest, at some time you feel that if you don't have the support, you hesitate to venture into entrepreneurship because you feel, what if I fail? Somehow I think that courage to sort of experiment came. And I think a lot of that was also due to some of the experiences in CEG itself. Like I said, I was holding different positions within the company. I was the secretary of the Mechanical Engineering Association. Then I became the student union president. A lot of that gave us the confidence to deal with problems, solve them, and not get very overwhelmed by problems. You always felt that you could, even when you face a difficult situation. That way, to be honest, in Mindtree, there were many times when we were really a tricky, or people would have almost written us off. But we came back out of that strongly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm so curious to know, at a time when older people or the older generation take early retirement, and that's the trend now, but you're setting new trends, you're finding new ventures.
Yes.
What gives you the motivation?
You know what I keep telling people, in cricket, you have only two innings. I have the unique opportunity to be playing my third innings, which is also a startup, which is Mela Ventures. See, I think as long as you really love what you're doing, age doesn't become a thing. In fact, to be honest, in this role of funding young technology companies, every day I learn from youngsters who think very differently, who are very knowledgeable about some of the new technologies. So I'm learning every day. That is what keeps me very excited and motivated. Every week, I probably meet at least 4, 5 entrepreneurial teams. And all of them have great ideas, not that we end up funding all of them, but it gives me an opportunity to be in touch with what is really happening. Yeah. And in a way, I'm constantly learning, which itself is a big energy booster for me. So I many times feel age is not a factor at all. To a large extent, I think it's the purpose which you're working for. And if that is exciting, I think you keep going.
Okay, that's a good approach.
One of the things which my personal foundation does is to help people age more gracefully.
Okay.
Because research shows that after retirement, people's intellectual engagement tends to drop. And that potentially is a risk in terms of getting Alzheimer's or Parkinson's later in your life. So it's important to engage yourself, even though you may not be in a full time job, it's important to engage yourself mentally, and you can, in a way, reduce the risk of potential of whatever you could call diseases which are relating to old age. Yeah.
Okay.
So similarly, as a part of a personal foundation which me and my wife run, which is called Mela Foundation, we are building up a geriatric center of excellence within the St. John's Hospital in Bangalore, which is probably one of its kind in India itself, which is just focusing on geriatric care.
Oh, that's a beautiful initiative, sir, and
Yeah.
all the best for your
Thank you.
other venture as well.
Yeah.
So, and speaking of youngsters, you told me you are so interested to meet them, talk to them, and get to learn from them also. What is your opinion about the youngsters of today?
See, I must say, one of the key things is while I think their approach to solving a problem is very different, I think a lot of them, once they are keen on one area, I'm just saying, suppose they're keen in terms of trying to manage waste, because all our cities, there's so much of waste that gets generated. They're very passionate about the problem which they're solving. Yeah. They may not know how to solve it, but the passion sort of sees them through in terms of finding even solutions which may not be apparent. So the big difference which I see is people are very driven and passionate. The second key thing is they don't have fear. Honestly, in our generation, I think we were just expected to follow what I call a very stereotype pattern. I'm being very honest. If you ask me, after engineering, I applied for MBA. I applied because I saw a lot of other people doing it. But did I know why I wanted to do an MBA? The honest answer is no. So I think many of us were brought up in a way where we just followed stereotypes. But whereas in today's generation, I find people driven by passion, they are fearless, they might have sort of prepared to, or education wise, they would have been prepared to be an engineer, but they just find they are more passionate about, I'm just saying, taking a thing, teaching children. So some of them sort of venture. One of my colleagues in MindTree did that after 10 years. He just decided, he's a very bright engineer, but he decided he wants to go teach children. So he and his wife did that, and they run a school for small children. So that's a very different approach. They are fearless. They don't, in a way, beyond a certain point, they're not bothered in terms of what the external world will think of that, because they're driven by their own internal motivation. So,
Okay, so the passion and the risk-taking approach of the youngsters today is what is
risk-taking ability, the fearlessness, I think is very, very different.
okay. So looking back, what are the most memorable days as a youth for you at CEG?
Uh, I think there were many, but one which I distinctly still remember is see, in my batch in 74, all of us joined under Madras University. Yeah. And even at that time in 79, a lot of people used to go abroad. And Madras University had a reputation in a lot of foreign universities. But in the final year, when I was the student president, the government decided to make it a university along with AC Tech and others. And they said, oh, we are from today renaming it as Peraringer Anna Technological University. Yeah. So at least my position with the principal, and then we met with the education minister also, was that saying, hey, what you're doing is right, but then look at the people who have got aspirations of going abroad and they've already started applying. Now, if you give the degree in a different university, they might just lose that opportunity. Somehow, initially, that discussion didn't sort of go anywhere. So, on the day when the university inauguration was to be done, we just closed the college and said the function is not going to happen. I still remember the function was due to start at 4:30 in the evening. So finally, after a lot of negotiation, batch of course will go EAUT. It became Anna University later.
So you've been protesting from the earlier times, is it?
No, more than protesting, there's a certain element of what I thought transparency and governance. So the other incidents which sort of stayed in my mind was obviously the students union had access to funds. If I recollect right, it was I think even at that time about 3.5 or 4 lakhs, but it never used to be spent effectively. Yeah. So one of the early decisions I took was as student unions, we are responsible to the students because it's their money. So every month, whatever is our expense, we used to put all of that on the canteen notice board. And with the result that we are frugal and think, we saved enough money. And I don't know whether that structure is still there. By the side of the canteen, there's a small little concrete structure which is there. So we built an office for the students union using the money we saved during that year. So that we thought we are leaving behind something which is permanent for the college. Yeah.
Okay. So that's a good initiative. Then, were there also any clubs during your time, sir? Like right now, we have the Green Brigades, or lots of clubs are there, Gindi Times and stuff. What were the clubs during your times? And were you a part of any?
See, the clubs were more relating to your functional area, like the Mechanical Engineering Association was there, EC had an association, Civil Engineering had an association. There were not many in terms of extracurricular activities. But clearly, sports was still a key thing. I used to play both table tennis and badminton for Gindi. Yeah. In fact, we 2 years won the All India Engineering Championship at REC Warangal. So there used to be both for tennis and table tennis All India Championships, which used to be hosted by the RECs. I think for some reason, 2 years it got hosted at Warangal. So we won both the years. So that way, I think sports was very, very popular. And cricket, of course, was very, very popular. On a lighter vein, I do recollect one Mr. Raman was the PH or the physical education director at my time. And in my final year, when I was the student president, this test cricketer Srikanth had got allocated to the Coimbatore College or something. So since we wanted him, we put some pressure and got him into Gindi.
Good old memories.
Good old memories, yes. Yeah.
Whether also these events like Techofes or Kurukshetra.
Techofes was something which we started.
Oh.
Techofes was something which we started during our time, so it was very much there. I think probably the first Techofes was done during the time when I was the Students' Union head.
Thanks for starting it, sir. We've been having fun since then. I mean, in every event of this Techofes, that's the most expected event of the year.
Of the year, correct. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and how did you get like, okay, we have to start something like a cultural activity? Was it your initiative or how did that happen?
No, I think it happened in terms of probably maybe in one of the group sessions, somebody suggested saying that, hey, Mardi Gras in IIT was very popular then. So if they can do an event like that, I think Kindy has enough capabilities as well as the ability to do it. That's how I think it really got initiated off.
Are you still connected with your friends, sir?
Oh, yes, very much. In fact, our batch, we meet regularly. We also try and see how we can put together initiatives to give back. So I think recently we just instituted a scholarship. Plus, particularly for the last couple of years, we have been personally I've been supporting, because one of the other initiatives in my foundation is to help rural girls attain professional education and get livelihood. So we support similarly girls who need support for the college education. So that's the sort of initiative which we do. I remember about 10 years back, we funded something for a digital library, which also got it got inaugurated, but I don't know what is the state after that. Yeah.
Okay. So we have SEGAM 4.0 coming up on Jan 3rd and 4th, sir. How excited are
Yes.
you to meet your friends? And
No, I'm very excited. In fact, AJB has been in touch with me. So he wanted me to come and speak at a session either on the 3rd or 4th of Jan. So I'm very keen and excited, looking forward to the SIGAM 4.0.
looking forward to meet you in person as well, sir.
Absolutely. And as many CG alumni and friends would be hearing this, I think SIGAM 4.0 is going to be a great opportunity to come and, in a way, give back to your alma mater, because I think the college has given all of us such a place in the society. I think it's our responsibility to come back and participate in the event, meet with friends, and more than anything else, build networks which can help you in your life, in your business, and to overall make the college a much more valued entity, not just in the country, but across the world. So I look forward to seeing all of you in SIGAM 4.0.
Okay. And you've shared us most of your valuable moments and your venture about your ventures and your best moments at CG. Thank you so much for joining us today, sir.
Thank you, Seta. Really a pleasure.